Fox, presented by Quaker State, is sponsored by CBS, official delivery company of NASCAR, and proud sponsors of David Reagan and the number 6 Ford Fusion.
336 of 500 miles complete, and reliability is beginning to fade on a couple of cars here.
Sounds like it's shake, rattle, and blow right now, because we've heard several different cars starting to report down on the cylinder, 88, Dale Jr. being one of them.
Well, that's not surprising. One of the first things Jeff came on the air today with a pre-race show, this is a night. Because when you look at Dale Earnhardt Jr., yeah, he's run 169 laps in this race, but he ran 70 laps in practice, and we're also hearing at Jimmy Johnson, you can see him right here in the 40 car, that he's slowed down. Break.
Training again. And let's check with Krista. I mean, 3 Hendrick cars with engine trouble at the same time.
Well, Larry, Mike DW, Mark Martin came on the radio and said, we may be out west, but the engine is heading south. He said when pit road, but with the rain coming, they want to stay out. Mark said valve cover come off. Matt?
The update on the 48 of Johnson, he said the car popped out of gear, put it back into 4th gear. Dale Jr., they've told him different switches. He has done that. That's when they told him. The 5 of Martin has a similar problem.
Now Jimmy Johnson Earnhardt Jr. twice, once in each of the practice sessions.
Her Jr. just going by. You can tell he's definitely in trouble.
Take your word for it, Dennis. Yeah.
So with 2 of the Hendrick cars for sure have engine issues. You know that Jeff Gordon mentioned Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman, because remember they have Hendrick engines as well in that 14 and 39 car.
Even though there's Chevrolet, Fords, Dodges, and Toyotas, there are a lot of common pieces, or at least common suppliers in all these engines. And the camshaft makers, everybody might run a different design camshaft, but it's built by the same company, rock arms, so on and so forth.
Was Matt Kenseth pushing the pace car? Oh, or was he getting the debris that might have been on his grill off
And it's
there?
exactly, you saw it fly away because that changed the whole pressure on that front end. And rain or not, here they come to pit road. Steve.
Well, Larry Mack, that's exactly what he's trying to do. As Matt was talking about, excuse me, his race car, he said, whoa, my water temperature is up to 270 degrees. Make sure you get that grill clean. Otherwise, he said his car is just a little bit tight, but he's very concerned about the temperature, Matt.
Johnson's car much better as he slides to a stop. Slight track bar adjustment. Going to go up about a round and a half on this stop. Dick?
And Jeff Gordon parks perfectly in his pit. Crew going to work. A minor adjustment in the back of the car. They did contemplate staying out. Decided that the weather radar was inconclusive. So in they are. Wow! Beaten by the 17.
Tell you what, we call them the killer bees, that pit crew for Matt Kenseth. They stayed exactly where they came in.
You know who won that race off pit road? Tony Stewart.
Tony Stewart, because he stayed out in that 14 car.
Did not pit.
I don't think that's a bad move at all with that many cars, fewer cars on the lead lap.
Lots of different strategy. We'll explore them in a minute.
The Auto Club 500 is presented by Quaker State, sponsored by AT&T, Your World Delivered, by Vault. Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Vault, get to it. By Aflac, ask about it at work. And by Lowe's, for all your home improvement needs. Lowe's, let's build something together.
Fourth caution of the race here in Southern California. Uncharacteristically, all 4 of them have been for light rain showers in different parts of the racetrack. Now 6 drivers on the lead lap chose not to pit during this caution flag, led by Tony Stewart. Earnhardt Jr. came in for a change of spark plug wires, went back on track, reported that did not help his ailing engine. Now last year, in the 2 races at Auto, there were no engine failures in either race.
I don't remember. We last year. Nice day. It's cool track temperature, cool air. The engines, they just make more power, which means that they have more of a chance of going.
Now, in this car. There's about 40 cars that want to get back to racing. There's a couple that don't want to. Stewart, who's leading this thing, car. I think he's praying for rain too.
I'm pretty sure he is right now, Larry, because we talked about this in the pre-race. You got to take care of these engines because it is a 500-mile marathon turning over 9,000 RPM. And a lot of times what gets you in trouble has to do with this valve train. This is the rocker arm. It moves the valve up and down. This is the spring that keeps the tension on that valve. And if you'll look here very closely, when this piston comes up, this is the intake valve. Look how close they get together. Now, Jimmy Johnson talked about his transmission jumping out of gear. If he over revs the engine, all of a sudden that piston and valve, they come up and they touch one another. Well, I could easily warp this valve or break it off. And that might be what has happened to some of these cars late in the day here. If they've had this kind of problem, this could be the culprit. Or this valve here itself. In any case, what this does mean for a lot of guys, if they've got this problem, they're not going to finish this race. And if they do, they definitely will not be a factor as far as finishing well.
Well, when the pushrod V8 debuted in 1949 at Oldsmobile and Cadillac, the service limit RPM was under 4,000. And now we're turning to more than twice as much, Jeff. A lot of things have been improved since then, obviously, to enable that. But it's the same basic engine architecture.
Well, what happens is the head of that valve, if it touches a piston, it will tweak the valve. The piston will hit it and break it off. It'll knock a hole in the piston, and that's where the smoke comes from.
Matt, what are they doing to Dale Jr.'s car?
Mike, back in again. The last stop, they used a temperature gun trying to see which cylinder was cold. They couldn't figure it out because it was all the same temperature. This time in, they used a crayon, like the tire specialists used to mark the tires, because that way they could see which cylinder was melting the crayon and which cylinder they've lost, which didn't.
Well, you can hear it's not running right.
Jeff can explain.
Well, what Matt's talking about, when you go over and raise the hood on the car, they take the heat gun. What they're doing, they're putting it on these exhaust pipes. And if there's not any fuel getting in that cylinder to be ignited by the spark plug, this exhaust tube will be cooler than the rest of them. So they know exactly which one they're looking at, whether it may be a problem with the plug wire or what may be going on. So that's what these teams are looking for, is trying to identify which one of these cylinders is the culprit as far as the problem's concerned. That heat gun can tell you that by looking at the exhaust tube temperature.
They're giving the field, are they giving one to go?
Yes, they are.
Yes, and that's why Stewart, Montoya, and some of these other drivers have come to pit road, because we're looking to go green next time.
Yeah, but the one to go, but the caution lights are still on the pace car, so that maybe that I can't see the flagman.
Excuse me,
it was two, I think it's 2 to go.
It's 2 to go.
It is, because.
But that's an indication of the teams that we are going back to green. So pit stops for those drivers who did not come in earlier. Dale Jr.'s back in again. We're getting ready to restart, so don't go away.